What's up, dudes and dudes here? My name's Seth, and we're going to be doing a very quick tutorial talking about the new Trove Adventure update, which is due out November 14th. We're going to be talking about permissions in clubs and how that actually ends up working so that you don't have to siphon through an hour-long patch video just to end up figuring out how this is all going to end up working and how to prepare for this when it ends up actually coming out onto the live server. So, most of all, we're going to be talking about what each of these functionalities do, like what they're going to end up actually doing in-game for you, as well as some of the different other mechanics of it. But most of all, I wanted to show you this as well, that there's going to be a president rank, which is going to only be one person that can be the president. You can have as many vice presidents as you want, and the way that the president rank is going to work is that if the president ends up being inactive for 30 days, it means that the next vice president that's the most active on the game is automatically going to get bumped up to the president rank, and the current president's going to be knocked down to the vice president, or VP as they call it. Then there's going to be officer rank, which of course is going to end up operating the same as the officer rank did previously: enforcer, captain, and member. So also each of the different permissions is going to be extremely easy. All you got to do is just click and associate these different check marks to all the different all the different roles and permissions and junk like that, right? So of course I don't actually have permission to edit, just because for some strange reason this game doesn't say that this is my primary club for some reason. Nope, it's just broken in general. Well, in any case, modify is going to actually be building. I don't know why they call it modify instead of just calling it build permissions, but essentially it means that if you're going to set a biome to /zone restrict space standard, that means that that biome is going to be open to being modified by pretty much anybody that has the modify privileges. So you can get rid of it on members if you want, and just change some of the other permissions. Oh, why I might not be able to change permissions is because that was probably taken off of me as well. That's an error command that you can do. Speaking, oddly enough, it defaults as unchecked, but if you end up check marking someone, I guess it stops them from being able to speak in the club chat. So it's kind of strange that it says it's speak when it default starts as unchecked. So it should actually be mute and then you check it. Although I don't know why you would, for the life of you, ever want to actually end up muting anybody in your club. At that point, why wouldn't you just kick them, or kick somebody specific rather than just, I mean, I guess you could set up one specific role to being like a muted role or something. At least it does give us that control. Then there's bombing, which is of course just going to be throwing bombs in your club. I would recommend you turn it off for everybody. This is not going to end up affecting the bulldozer or lasermancy or just digging in general, by the way. It's just going to be affecting the bombs that you throw out in the world, and I would assume affects dragons as well, because those end up actually counting as the same bomb code, but I can't really test that out right now, unfortunately. Terraform is going to end up being, of course, just throwing down new biomes. Crafting, which is just going to default to everybody. It's just so that they can end up using crafting tables and stuff. Why wouldn't you want everybody to use crafting tables? Invites. This is where it starts getting interesting, because you can set specific roles to be able to have the privilege to invite other members to the club, while you can also set it separately for people to promote and demote different members. Of course, it's going to be very standard, very self-explanatory, that the higher the rank you are, you're going to be able to dominate over any of the lesser ranks. So the vice president, for example, is never going to be able to demote the president, even if they have the privileges to do it. They're only going to be able to demote other officers and lower, not necessarily other vice presidents, I don't think anyways. Then there's going to be kicking people from the club itself, the club chest access, the officer chest access control, which as far as I know is going to end up being like just accessing all of this stuff. Let me take a quick peek and see what that command is. All right, access control is actually going to be zone restrict. So you go into a biome, you type /zone restrict, then you can set it to standard, basic, expert, and nobody. We'll talk about those in a bit, these privileges in 2 seconds, but I just wanted to be clear that access control is setting the zone restrict permissions. So setting whether or not a biome can actually be built in or modified in any way, shape, or form. So be very, very careful with who you give that rank to, or permission to, I should say. Basic modify is just going to be a different type of zone restriction that you can end up doing. By default, this is going to be the one that it gives to every rank for some strange reason, while modify is going to be a little bit higher. I don't know why they call this modify and not call it zone restrict or what is it? Expert modify, basic modify. This should be called standard modify because that's what the privilege is going to be, or the zone restriction is going to be called. But whatever, that's okay. Either way, we've got the same 3 different ranks that you can end up setting a biome to, but the biggest thing is that the fact that you can actually customize who can end up actually editing the specific type of biome. Now, again, if somebody has expert privileges, it means that they're going to be able to modify and build in a basic biome as well. Then you can edit the messages of the day, edit the permissions, which of course is going to be all of this stuff. I'm not a vice president in this club. That's why I can't actually edit the permissions. There's going to be fixture interaction. So this is going to be interacting with the different fixtures out in the world, in the club world, which is going to be like the quest NPCs and, you know, buying from the merchant and stuff like that. But then there's also going to be the fixtures add and remove as a separate function, which of course you're going to have to be very careful with that because it means that people could end up getting rid of these and thus end up costing you a lot of clubits or clubits, because then as you end up removing each fixture, you're going to have to rebuy them back, which these ones, of course, are the default ones, so it doesn't really matter. But then also on top of that, certain commands are going to be accessible to that same permission where, like, for example, these quest NPCs, there's the little plate that's underneath them that you have to interact with in order to actually spawn the NPC. That's going to be something else that, while it seems like it would be tied to fixture interaction, it's actually tied to the add remove functionality, or maybe it's tied to the purchase upgrade. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's the add remove, just because at a lower rank, if you try to interact with these plates, it just says you can't do that. So you're gonna have somebody of higher rank come around to actually like activate all these NPCs regularly as they end up leaving. So control NPC, oh, maybe that's what it is. Control NPC is the separate permission where you're going to be able to spawn them in, but also where you're going to be able to remove them and wake them up. So again, you gotta be very careful with this one because it means that somebody could come around being very trolly and just start wasting all your clue bits left and right? And then there's going to be one of the most important features of all, I personally think anyway, which is the block list. So this is gonna be how you actually ban people from your club world. Personally speaking, I have not found a way to actually see a list of all of the people that you have blocked from your world, but the command that you're gonna actually use is going to be /club space block space the name of the club, and then the name of the user. I'll of course put some font on the screen so that you can actually understand what I'm talking about instead of just trying to like picture it in your head. But in either case, that's a fantastic feature, you know, because lots of people love to be very trolly in club worlds and stuff like that, especially for somebody like myself where not only am, you know, because of the popularity of my YouTube videos, but also just the fact that that I advertise that I'm family friendly. So usually we end up getting a lot of really bad people coming into the worlds and doing a bunch of really naughty stuff. Again, you're gonna want to have to be very careful with who you end up giving this permission to, because it means, again, people can end up being very trolly. Like if you end up putting a bunch of like a bad vice president up, or end up bumping someone up that's like a president, they could just end up blocking everybody from the club world, and that wouldn't be good. But again, that's why there's going to be one president rank and, you know, whatever of the other ranks, right? So in any case, thank you so much for watching. Very much appreciate everybody. And also, one last thing I just want to mention too is that the fixture interaction is going to work for the minting thing right here, where you can end up forging your adventuring into the clue bit, and then you're also going to be able to deposit your clue bits into the vault as well. So that's going to be under that same same fixture interaction. So that one you're going to want to pretty much have for everybody. Thanks for watching though. Very much appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe for more daily content, as well as building up loyalty points in my merch store. Links are in the description for that, where you can end up buying this shirt and a whole bunch of others. Really excited about this update. And again, just to be clear, this is coming out November 14th, everybody. Unless it ends up getting delayed, in which case I am absolutely destroyed, because all of these videos say that it's coming out November 14th, but it's pretty close. Like, that's less than a full month away, so I don't really think that they're going to delay it or anything like that. But in any case, I'm just rambling now. Sayonara, and stay epic, everybody.